Good morning. Well, today I'm going to paint a road soon. So you've got this road that heads down to the coast. And I really like when I come around the bend, up here and I see the road going down on the coast, especially in the afternoons or the mornings, it's a really good subject to paint. So I'm going to get my gear set up. We're going to paint this scene today. Let's paint. There's a whole heap of black cockatoos here. Let's see if we can get closer and have a look at them. They're really beautiful. They're a sacred bird. Really beautiful. And in captivity, they're very expensive. About $10,000 each when people actually breed them. So yeah, beautiful bird. Very special. Okay, so you can see this is the scene that I'm going to paint. Hopefully you can't really see the water, there's water down there, so I really wanted to get that water in. So I'll show you guys the wash that I've got in place and the composition that I've got set up. So you can see here, the road going off, some trees here, this bit of distance there, there's actually water there, and there's a mountain or headland over here. So I want to get all that in, but I actually want the water to change, yeah, a bit more bluer so you can actually see it. So, but if I can't get what I want, I'll just work with what I got. So, yeah, we'll just give it 10 minutes or so and we'll start painting. Yeah, so I think it's just going to stay glary. That's the subject I got to work with. So there's some shadows coming across the road and that now down there. So I've just put an impression of getting those in. So I'm going to start the painting. So yeah, let's get painting this street scene or road scene, looking out to the Pacific Ocean. It's a lot warmer at the top. Then as it comes down, you can just see the difference in the horizon between the water and the sky. This painting's all about tone. I think if you can marry the tones up good, you've got a good painting. This is one of those subjects I've been wanting to paint for about a year or so. Every time I've driven up this road or come around this corner and come down and I've looked out to the ocean, I thought I've got to paint this one day, either in the morning or the afternoon. So yeah, here I am and finally get to paint what I've been passionate about painting. Okay, now the distant headland here. Very hazy out there. Actually, I'm mixing the distant bush before you see the water. G'day, mate.
Morning.
Good morning. As I come back, I'm going to go a little bit warmer as I come down, come back, and then there'll be some shadows put in place. That's how you create distance. You see, the first colour that disappears when you look out into the distance is yellow. So you want stronger yellows closer to you. Okay, so what I'm looking at now is I'm going to get these foreground tree shapes in place. It's all about shapes. Get the foreground tree shapes and the telegraph poles going off, and then I'll focus on the road. So you can see here, gradually building it up. So I'll get the foreground shapes and that in place, and then some telegraph poles going off, and then I'll work on the road, the shadows, and then the foreground here. Very important part of the painting this is. Probably this one here. I've got to tame down a little bit, but that's no problem. I can do that. Okay, do the road now. Okay, I've just mixed up the road colour, the highlight colour. You can see it's quite warm. Not the shadows are cool, but the road, the highlight colour is quite warm, so that's what I'm looking at. Okay, now I'm going to do the shadows that are on the road. This time, well, I started the painting about half an hour or so ago, but this time the shadows are strong and they go straight across the road. But I won't take them all the way, I'll take them most of the way across the road, and they're actually going more horizontal now. They were more on an angle coming back this way a bit, so I'll stick with what I started with. Otherwise, yeah, I want to keep it how it was 30 minutes ago, not exactly now. It does change a little bit, so just a little bit there, I'll just change it. And with my shadows, actually quite dark and warm. Just using a bit of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna and cad scarlet. Don't want them too dark, darker than the actual bush. And there's actually some highlights coming off the trees that I will put in, and a little bit of on the side of the road there's some highlights as well, so just get these shadows right. Always good to use those shadows, just soften it off into the bush as well a little bit, so the tones are similar. Keep the atmosphere in the painting. Okay, you can see here I've built it up a bit, put a bit of highlights on some of the trees. Not too much because I don't want to take away from the actual road going in. I've just got to work on this area here and we'll take a look at it. It's a beautiful brown colour, this part. Probably go burnt sienna, yellow ochre, a little bit of Indian yellow. G'day. I've added a tiny bit of cad yellow deep to burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Just got to get this just soft enough, but just to give it some shapes. This part here, there's shadow. When you actually look at it, I'm talking about just down here, there's little dips of shadow which is dark. They're quite a bit darker. Like if you squint, close one eye and squint with the other, and you look at things like that, you can see it's pretty profound. So I've got to get that in. Few odd little rocks and shapes. If it's too bold, just soften it off. Like these highlights of the grass, a little bit too bold, so just soften it off. It doesn't take your eye away from the scene. Okay, I've done the painting of the road leading off to the sea. Or as you can see, the sea's very faint down there. If I came back in the afternoon, it'd be beautiful blue, cobalt blue, like a beautiful colour. So that could be another painting on another day. Anyway, I'll show you guys where I'm at and where I'm going to stop at. And there's the painting. So yeah, tell me what you think in the comments. I think it turned out okay. Oh, it was a great subject anyway, something I've always wanted to paint. So anyway, thanks for coming along and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.